Hello peeps, welcome to Sundays with Sparky. How's it going? Are you good? You are? Well, that's great. Today it's a bit of a weird day outside today, in fact. At the back of the house, it's beautiful sunshine, blue skies, and at the front of the house is dark clouds and just generally not looking very good at all. So I hope the weather is remarkably better wherever you are and whenever you are watching this. So that's the typical British thing to do, and talk about the weather. So let's get on with movies and video games, shall we? This week I've been watching quite a lot of movies. They were gonna follow a theme, like a link thing, like I normally do, except they didn't. So if you remember, last week I watched Star Trek and Star Trek Into Darkness. So I followed that up with The Losers, because Zoe Saldana's in it, and it's also got Chris Evans and Idris Elba and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who I believe was in Watchmen, I think. So I could have watched that after this, but I didn't. But yeah, this is pretty fun. I think it's like a comic book. Yeah, Dark Castle. So it's based off a comic book, which I didn't realise when I first saw it. I just thought it might be a fun action film, and it is. Chris Evans seems to be playing himself, although that was pre-Captain America. A lot of Chris Evans' roles before that had been kind of like the wisecracking, sarcastic joke maker type character. And then I was planning on going to see the new Spider-Man, which I also spoke about last week. So I watched The Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Better than the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire ones, I think, in some aspects. Bit of fluff. Some of it was a bit silly, some of it, like the crane scene towards the end, where all the construction workers, they just happen to have cranes all the way up this road that Spidey needs to go up, and he can't quite make it, so they happen to have all these cranes that just move, and it's like, really? You just happen to have those cranes there. It's a bit silly. The rest of it, however, was pretty good. But that bit was a bit kind of like, what? I'm not really expecting the new one to be any good, which I mentioned last week. I think there's going to be too many enemies for him. I don't think there's going to be enough time in the movie to kind of introduce them all properly. And not only introduce them properly, but also build up the rivalry between them and Spider-Man. So, I mean, Electro's kind of billed as like the top boss for him, I guess, for this movie. But I know there's also Rhino is one of them, and I think I'm not sure if it's Green Goblin or Hobgoblin. I can't remember which one it is. One of those two, anyway, are supposed to be in it, and it's like, well, really, have you really got time for all this? So I don't know. So after that, I've thought, what other slightly crappy, but still a little bit fun comic book movie do I have that I can watch that might be quite fun? And the answer was Green Lantern. Now, I don't know anything about the Green Lantern series of comics or stories or anything like that. I've never read any of the comics, so I had no idea who the Green Lanterns were or who the enemies were. As far as DC is concerned, there was like Superman, Batman, and that was pretty much it. I know that the Flash and the Wonder Woman and the Green Lantern were kind of part of it, but I don't know much about anyone else other than Superman and Batman, because they're kind of like the big ones. So yeah, it was alright, I suppose. It was pretty fun. I would have liked to have seen him use his powers more, because that seemed like it was pretty cool. But they didn't really do that too much. I guess it's an origin story, so you don't really see him doing all of that stuff to begin with, which is a bit of a shame, because I think some of it could have been quite interesting. So then I went on a bit of a Ryan Reynolds binge. I went from that. I went to The Change Up with Jason Bateman, where they essentially swap bodies for a period of time, and Ryan Reynolds' character is a bit of a bum, like he's like an out of work actor, and Jason Bateman's character works for a very important law firm, and he's quite high up. He's sort of working his way to becoming partner. He's got a wife, he's got 3 children, 2 of which are, I think they're twins, like very young babies. And they swap bodies, so they have to pretend to be each other, with hilarious circumstances and outcomings and that stuff. It's alright, it's pretty funny in places. Yeah, it's not the best movie you'll ever see by any means, but it's quite fun. You know, I guess if you find it on Netflix or something like that, or you find it in a supermarket for cheap, then it might be worth it. It's pretty fun, and yeah, there's some laughs to be had. So then, more Ryan Reynolds. Then I went on to watch Safe House with Denzel Washington, which is a bit of a change from Ryan Reynolds' normal kind of slightly comedic roles that he normally plays. This is a great movie. If you've not seen this yet, this is a great movie. Action-packed from start to finish, plot twists, great fight scenes, great choreographed fight scenes. They're choreographed in a way that makes it look like you. I know sometimes you'll see in movies you have choreographed fight scenes that are quite clearly choreographed, you know. But I mean, when you're watching it, you don't think, "Oh, this is clearly choreographed." But like with all the if especially like with like kung fu style fighting, and there's always blocks and punches and jabs and you know all this fancy stuff. In this movie, it's done in a way that you think, "Ouch, that's going to hurt," and it's a way more realistic type of fighting, and it's quite brutal in places. But it's only a 15, so it's not. I mean, you don't see anyone get decapitated or anything stupid like that. But the fighting feels like it's real. I did see the big plot twist coming from a mile off, though. That was the only downside. But Denzel was on top form as usual. And yeah, if you haven't seen it, you should definitely see it, because it's a great movie. And the last one I watched, completely changing up again, The Proposal with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. As I say, I've been on a bit of a Ryan Reynolds fest. It's a romantic comedy. Most of the time, romantic comedies I don't generally find that they're actually that funny, but this one had a few chuckles in there for me. And I kind of love Sandra Bullock. I think she's fantastic. A bit like what's that movie? Friends with Benefits. They get together just to and by the end of it, they're kind of like, "Oh, I actually kind of like you a lot more than I thought I was going to," and yeah, it's essentially the same sort of thing. They get together for a specific purpose, not the purpose of actually wanting to be with each other, and then at the end they want to be with each other. So it's like most other romantic comedies. So so that's the movies. I think I'm hopefully going to go and see Amazing Spider-Man 2 on Wednesday, which is my birthday. Yes, I'm another year older, but I'm not going to tell you how old because you'll all be like, what? How are you even alive? So, so yeah, that's going to be fun. So, video games. So last Sunday, me and a few friends of mine played some Guns of Icarus. So if you've been watching stuff on the channel, you'll see those videos. I put some highlight videos up from each of the matches that we played. If you'd like to see the video or the match in its entirety, Suki has put those videos up on her channel, so you can go to her channel and she's made a playlist of all 5 games in their entirety. I think most of them are about maybe 10, possibly 15 minutes long, but I was just making kind of like very short highlight bit videos just of like the funny or amusing or exciting bits, and yeah, I quite enjoyed doing that. We also had a big deck player, which is the low cost warrior deck. This deck, I will tell you, I was playing it yesterday. I went from rank 12. Yes, I was rank 12, and I managed to get down to rank 9 within about, I don't know, maybe an hour, possibly. Probably not even that, actually. It was probably less than that. It's probably about 45 minutes. I was owning with that deck. Actually, was it rank 9 or was it rank 8? I think it might have been rank 8. I won a lot of games, and I was just like, I had my daily quest was to win 3 matches, and I was like, well, I'll use the warrior deck, and because some of the other decks I've been using, just, I don't know, sometimes they work really well and sometimes they don't, and it depends on who I come up against and card draw and stuff like that. But the warrior deck was doing well, and I thought, well, I've won 3 games in a row, maybe I'll just keep going until I lose. And then the next thing I know, I'm like halfway through rank 8. And I'm like, oh my god! And then I lost finally, but it was very close. And it was because he put out. What did he put out? He put out Baron Geddon, and so which is a legendary card, and then he put out a Faceless Manipulator, which copies the Baron Geddon. So he had 2 Baron Geddons on the board. So essentially he had 2 legendaries, and then he gets his epic Gorehowl weapon out as well, which finished me off. But he only had 2 health left, and if he hadn't finished me that turn, he would have died. So it was very close. It was very, very close. But that was great fun, and I can't believe how strong that warrior deck is. I mean, I think when I recorded it, I was rank 11, and my rank, I kind of hovered around 11 and 12 for a little while with different decks while I was doing some daily quests and stuff. But yeah, last night just completely owned. It was fantastic, really good. So if you are playing Hearthstone and you're looking for a good warrior deck, really check that out, because it's one of the best ones I've played. Obviously on Friday we have our usual Saints Row 4, because what would Friday be without Saints Row 4 and the silliness and shenanigans that me and Suki get up to in that game. Suki's going to be, I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to be able to get out with her soon, because she's only got a couple of weeks left at uni and she needs to make sure she gets all her uni work done. So I think I've got one more for next week, so we might have to try and record some more at some point, but yeah, so there might not be one the week after, but we'll see. We'll see what we can arrange. And we had part 7 of the Plague Inc. playthrough, which was the Prion, or Prion, I'm not really sure how that's pronounced, on Plague Inc. That was great too, and I like playing that game. I was playing a bunch of that last night as well, and because to unlock some of the other things at the end, you have to defeat everything on Brutal. And I was like, oh my god. And for a while, I thought, well, I'll start with Bacteria, that's the first one. I'll start with that on Brutal and see how I do. And each time I did it, I would get almost everyone infected, and then the cure would come up. So I'd get very close, but never quite made it. But I found out that to unlock all the special like gene mods before you start playing, you only have to I think you have to win like 25 games. So I was like, okay. So I just did a bunch of stuff on casual, just to get so that I could get all the different gene mods unlocked at the beginning, because I figured that there might be something in there that helps me out, and there is. So that was good, and it's been great. And I've managed to clear everything on brutal. So I'm probably going to do like another video series. Well, not another video series. It's going to continue on with the Plague Inc. But I'll do like a how to do this on brutal video, so that you can find out how I did it. I also played Metro Last Light. That was a fantastic game. Unfortunately, my computer doesn't really like the level of graphics. And I was thinking, oh yeah, if this looks okay, then I might do a playthrough of it from the channel. But no, is the answer, because my graphics card is like, meh. Most of the time it's fine. Most of the time there's no problems at all. And then there was one level which had lots of fire and smoke particles and stuff going on, and my frame rate was just in the toilet the entire level. And I was like, oh my god, this is going to be horrendous trying to get through this level. And I literally had maybe 1 or 2 frames per second the entire level. Previous levels, it was fine. It was running at about 30 frames per second, and I was like, this isn't perfect, but it's like, you know, it's playable. Man, yeah, but yeah. So, not going to be doing a playthrough of that on my channel until I get an upgrade to my graphics card, which may take some time. So that's it. That's been my week. That has been my week. I've had a lot of fun the last couple of weeks, putting out 16 videos in the last 2 weeks. I'm not sure I'm going to continue doing that many videos, because I have other things to do, like working, whereas last week I didn't. So yeah, I need to do that, unfortunately. It's a shame, but you know, money. Okay, I'm out of here. I got stuff to do. Yes, I have. I've got stuff to do. Take care, peeps. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.